So when this fight was first introduced, it didn't take long for it to receive high praise. There was no doubt in anyone's mind that the animators and the choreographers were putting out some high quality content here. But if you're like me, you realize that there was just too much to catch in real time. The speed of the fight is whelming to say the least. So you ask yourself, what would you find if you actually slowed things down a little bit? Was the flow of the fight as sound as you thought it was? And the number one question to all things on this channel, if this was treated like a professional fight with statistics, what would be the result? So let's go ahead and set that up like a true MMA style matchup. And I understand that they get down for a full fight scene, but for the purposes of this, we're only going to be looking at the part where they run their hands. That's it. Both men had decided to throw down the weapons and agree to the 1v1. So with that being said, let's go and get into it. Igris goes for the takedown off rip. And you know it was easy too, because Jin-Woo didn't even see that one coming. Hands are still in the position like old buddies across the room. He gets tossed to the side. Then my man closes the distance with a right cross and pins Jin-Woo to the wall. Now Jin-Woo's in a situation. He can't circle out because he's halfway into the wall. He can't go backwards because he's in the wall. All he can do is guard or push forward. He opts for the guard. Shells up and just tries to stay composed under fire. And it was probably for the best too, because he ends up catching a barrage of 1-2s, jabs and straights all the way, up until the point where he just had enough and decided to go for a right cross, which ends up pushing Jin-Woo through the wall. Even though he didn't land a clean shot, old buddy's arms are cooked. And I'm not sure if he's picked up on the injury cues just yet, but the damage is done. All right, so now it's Jin-Woo's turn to respond. Turns up that speed a little bit, tries to see if he can catch an angle. He thinks he's got himself a shot, but Igris is on today. That miss opens up an opportunity for a right hand. Unfortunately, it gets blocked. And this is where we fall into what I like to call reckless aggression. Jin-Woo throws everything at this man. He hasn't found his range at all, but yet he's going for a lot of power strikes. Hammer fists, hooks, uppercuts, flying jump kicks, 1-2s, and he ain't catching nothing but air. So let's go ahead and flip it over to Igris real quick. At this point, he's already realized, I seen your speed, you ain't fast enough. I felt your power, you're buttery soft. So I'm about to drop these hands and show you this head movement. And I'm talking dodges, slips, ducks, lean backs, perfect execution of footwork. And now he's got Jin-Woo falling for the setup. My man throws the high kick, easy slip, change levels, blah, kick to that ankle. My man's going down like a tree. And Igris always follows up on his shot, spinning uppercut to the body. Now Jin-Woo's defenseless and flying through the air. We got a problem. Shot from long range lands, and Buddy is just closing distance. And then goes on to perform one of the best looking moves I have seen inside this fight. A spinning somersault axe kick to the back of the head. Yo, Jin-Woo's eating more dirt. And of course, Igris sticks the landing. Now on some level, I'm sure Jin-Woo's ego's gotta be hurting just a little bit, so he decides to get it back in blood. But the only difference this time is there's a slight change in strategy. Notice, when he goes for that right hand, this time he doesn't overcommit and fly past his opponent. He stays pretty close, and then takes the time to circle outside rather than on the inside. I can't explain it just yet, but trust me, that's gonna matter later. So check it out. When he goes for his next attempt, he stays close. He doesn't go flying past him with that kick. And then he follows that up with some more closer shots, more jabs, more straights, more uppercuts, things to kind of keep him close. His only mistake being going for that jump kick. Igris picks up on that, no problem. Give me that leg, get up out of here. Good bounce back though by Jin-Woo. Immediately comes back with the axe kick. Now it doesn't land, but from the point where he touches that wall, he has no choice but to go for something. All right, so quick flip over to Igris. Good block on the somersault kick. Stuffs that double punch, no problem. Goes back to the clinch and goes for a leg kick. And then scores a judo flip on top of that. Remember when I said earlier, him slipping to the outside was important? Well, this is where he finally has a chance to execute. He runs up on Igris, who's thinking, oh yeah, we going back to the clinch. Catches old buddy overreaching, slips to the outside. So he's trying to hurry up and spin to get back centered, which he does. He ends up having to do a cross block, and not a close body cross block, a far reaching cross block. So now he's all out of position, which opens him up for the... And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, he has finally made contact. We are deep into this matchup, and this is the first time he's actually landed a shot. So I think that we should all take a moment and praise him for this. And for those that know, no, that was the first and the last of the hits that he's gonna get off. This is where Igris turns it up, and now he's on your ass. My man goes off for a crazy 6-hit combo. Nothing but power shots. I'm talking uppercuts, hammer fists, double hammer fist, and one nasty hook to the body. And what impresses me the most about this, all these shots right here to the body. He's not head hunting one time. And you know Igris always follows up on his shot. Flying jump kick, yeah, out of there. Single arm smash, but he doesn't let go. And now you eating more concrete. And then just begins to grind him. And of course caps it off with the deepest shot that I have seen so far in this fight. And that's it, man. Jin-Woo's out of there. Stamina gauge depleted. Health gauge depleted. My man is out of there. Ref slides in. We're going to go and call a finish to this fight by TKO. So now we're going to move into my favorite part, which is the stats. And the stats don't look good for this man at all. Let's go ahead and talk about Jin-Woo first. This man right here was 1 for 27. That ain't gonna get it done, big dog. If this was your first draft round pick, bruh, send it back. It was clearly a mistake to try to run the hands. Brother only hit 4% of his shots. That's terrible. Now, of course, when you watch the fight, it really does seem like there's a good back and forth, a fair trade of events. But honestly, this is just a lot of whiffing. Now, I can at least look to the blocks, dodges, parries, and say defensively you were responsible. Now, he did earn most of that when he was pinned up against the wall catching them thought owls, but I'll give credit where credit is due. I mean, I gotta find something positive to say here. Great use of ring pressure, solid adjustment in his planning. He started trying to go around for the outside of his opponent. That was smart. And some really solid stance switching. I could never truly tell which foot was his lead foot. And I guess good cardio, and I will say defensive awareness. There was a couple times that he should have been caught, but he put his hands up in time, so I'll give him that as well. All right, so now let's go ahead and shift over to the champ. First thing we'll talk about, grappling. 7 takedowns and throws. Definitely adding an extra piece to the puzzle for Jin to think about, but it also worked defensively because whenever he was coming at him and he needed to break up his combos, wow, go for the clinch, which thus leads to another throw. And then all the constant throws and smashes into the concrete. He just kept Jin-Woo off balance the entire time, just controlling the distance with it. All right, so now let's talk about the striking. Old buddy shot 34% with them hands. And to be honest, the only ones that he actually missed were in the very beginning sequence. That ended up being around 21 punches alone. After that point, if he threw a strike, it was landing. This man went 100% for his next 11 attempts. Come on now. If you completely remove that first section, even though he did damage, the man shot 100%. And let me know what y'all think about this. Is he more mad about the fact that he got kicked in the back of the head? Or is he more mad about the fact that now his no damage run got fucked up? Let me know what y'all think. Outside of having a stellar ass striking percentage, I'm just gonna list off a couple things he did well. Takedown impact, ring control, clinch control, defensive awareness, distance management, footwork, and cage control. The last thing I liked about everything that he did in this fight was he landed a shot to every single part of Jin-Woo's body. He landed a strike to the head. He landed strikes to the body. He got strikes to the legs. Don't sleep on those body shots either. You know that was having a heavy effect on that man's stamina. So if we jump back and we address the first questions that I had, was the flow of the fight as sound as I thought it was? Absolutely, that's an A. Did the animators actually create a visible fight, or was it just a bunch of flash and flare and nothing really happening? They sure did, another A. And when you look at the stats, was the fight truly as close as you think it was? And the answer is no. When you watch the fight in real time, it definitely looks way closer. When you grade the fight by statistics, it was not close at all. And with that said, let's put a wrap on this fight. Give it up for your winner. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's been a minute since I made a video, but now that everything is settling down, I should be able to get back in the mix. Hey, yo, thank you for taking the time to watch. For anybody who's come back, thank you for coming back for more. Y'all have a good one. Like, subscribe, and anything else, and I'll catch you on the next one.